Hello, it's Jimmy here, the Rileys. I have a Citroën Berlingo here, 2020, 1.5 HDI. Let's have a look at what's going on. So I'm just having a look through some live data here on this. So we can see the AdBlue is working. We've got 5.7 bar of pressure, steady pressure, average consumption, so that's all working okay. Thermal aging of the catalytic converter is at 72%. Let's have a look at diagnostic system information too. Have a look at all that. 5,000 kilometers left before it needs to be refilled of the AdBlue. .200 ppm in the catalytic converter. Particles per million. I think that's a little bit high really. Right, diagnostic system 1, diagnostic system 2. We've looked at both of those. Exhaust line information 1. Let that load up. So additive reservoir 0, but I don't think this has a additive reservoir, this vehicle. This one doesn't have one. So the estimated thermal aging of the particle filter is at 0%, which is saying that it needs a new DPF, it needs a new particle filter. Just because it's calculated that on the mileage. What mileage have we got? 119,483 mile. So it's basically saying it needs a new DPF just because of the mileage there. Soot in the particle filter 8.9 grams. Rate of clogging of the particle filter 41%. Now this doesn't need a new DPF. You could barely even say it needs cleaning, to be honest. But we'll have a look on this one. So the distance remaining before you need to replace your particle filter, 0 kilometers. So you can see that that's calculated on a distance. So no matter how good your DPF, this DPF may be working better than one that you're going to replace it with, but it's telling you need to replace it. Now what a lot of people will do, they'll go on eBay and get a patent part and fit it, and it's probably going to work worse than this one that's in here. We know this DPF is working fine, nothing wrong with it, but that's the that's what Citroën are saying. We've got 11 or 12 millibars of pressure at idle, 3,000 RPM. Let's give it a rev up. It's not really high, not really high. Customer wants me to clean it anyway. We'll get that down a little bit. Now we'll just exit here and we'll come back and look at the fault codes that he's got here. So just pay no attention to those top two ones. We've got depollution of the diagnostic system ineffective, so it's basically saying it needs a new catalyst and a new DPF, but it doesn't. I've already showed these videos before. Okay, so how do you fix this? We're going to go back, go to special functions, replacement parts, work on the emissions, and replacement of the particle filter. Start the engine up. Now what that's going to do, it's going to read the particle filter pressure, and if it thinks, oh, I've got a communications there, let's try that again. Okay, so I've done that again. Okay, that was my fault, I didn't switch the ignition off and then switch it back on. And that's done. We do the same with the catalytic converter, tell her it's had a new one. And we're in the special functions again. We'll do reinitialization of the diagnostic system false. Okay, so now that program inside of it is done, if we come back here to replace to mileage remaining before the particle filter replacement, we have 180,000 kilometers again, so that's been reset. We'll look back at the DPF pressure. You can see that's increased slightly. Obviously the engine's been revving here for a while, getting it warmed up. As it warms up, the pressure will increase slightly. Now we can see here the thermal aging of the catalytic converter. So this obviously works in reverse. So now that we've reset that, it's gone back up to 99%, so that comes down, so 0% on that is going to be the end of life for the catalytic converter. And now you can see, just by telling it it's had that new catalytic converter, we've got 20 ppms in the NOx system, particles per million. So that's come down to where it should be. Now we'll just clean the DPF, get that little bit of high pressure down. Let's go back and have a look, see where the DPF pressure is. Where are we? Exhaust information 2, particle filter differential pressure. Make sure we're holding it above 3000 RPM. Say 150 to 160 millibars. So we had maybe 3400 RPM there. Okay, if we come down into the engine here, I've opened the 8mm bolt here, so just undoing the rest of that by hand. This is for the pressure sensor. We're going to disconnect that, move that bolt out of the way. Now we're going to disconnect this tube on this side. This is the one where we're going to put the DPF fluid, because if you follow that down, it goes just there before the DPF, and then the other one goes after the DPF. Okay, so I've disconnected the holes there, and I've connected up my gun that's pressurized. I'm going to connect that up to my compressor, like so. Now we've got this cup filled up with the Launch DPF cleaner. That is that fluid right there, Launch UK particle filter cleaning fluid. And now all we need to do is just squeeze the trigger, get that fluid pushed in there. What I'm going to do with this though, I'm going to put half of this fluid down the DPF sensor, then I'm going to move up to the top. We'll open that oxygen sensor and we'll put some cleaner in up here at the top, just so it cleans the catalyst as well. Okay, so I'm using a 22mm crow's foot spanner here to get that open. Take that off. So now we're just spraying the rest of that fluid down in here. Let that soak all the way in. Okay, now the fluid's in, we're back in the vehicle. Start it up. So we haven't even had to do any revving yet. We've already got it down to 3 or 4 millibars. We'll get that on a graph if we can. Oh, I just had it there. It's a little bit difficult to get it to feel my fingers. Right, so let's hold the revs back up 3000 RPM. There we go. So we didn't even have to hold the revs on this one, it's just immediately dropped down the pressure. So we'll take it on a little drive. Take it on a little drive around now, just make sure everything's in good order. Okay, taking it on a little drive, we're down now to 28 millibars. You can see there that we have some smoke coming from the exhaust, which will clear away in about 5 or 10 minutes. So like I said, that will die away now in a few minutes. That's just the steam from the fluid basically burning off. 3000 RPM, we have around about 46 to 48 millibars. At idle we have 5 millibars, 4-5 millibars. Okay, so we can now exit the live data for the pressure. Now we need to clear the fault codes. So now we'll take it on a further test drive again. Okay, now we're back from a test drive. Just read the fault codes, make sure that they've all cleared and they're not come back, which is all good. So this particular van now, it doesn't have an Eli's tank or a pat fluid tank. They seem to have done away with that on this particular model. I don't know why, because the larger van to this, the Dispatch, the new Dispatch, that's got an Eli's tank on it, but this one doesn't. So yeah, we're basically all about finished there. Particle filter worn, detected. It's all finished. See you in the next video.